wheel, use a 17mm socket to take the lug bolts out. When you get to the last one, you might want to hold the wheel on so it doesn't fall. Grab the wheel and slide it off. We're going to loosen up this jam nut. Use a 24mm wrench. Just using a little rust penetrant on there. You don't have to take it off, you just got to loosen it. That looks good there. Now I'm going to take a 22mm socket, take this nut off. There's many different tools you can use to separate the tie rod from the knuckle. We're going to use a pickle fork. Just be careful with a pickle fork. It could rip the boot. But there's different tools you can do that won't. There we go. Now separate that from the knuckle. What you want to do now is hold the inner tie rod. You can either use a pair of pliers or even a 13mm wrench, and then use another pair of pliers or even a wrench that fits on the outer tie rod. And we want to loosen it up. Make sure it's not stuck in there. Hold on. And as we twist it, you want to count the turns. That way when you put it back together, it'll just be closer. The alignment will be closer than if you didn't count the turns. So that would be one turn and then on and on. Twenty-one. 22, so 22 turns for that. And just take this sleeve off. Now we'll take this nut off. Just gonna hold the inner tie rod in and use a 24mm socket. Comes right off. Now we're gonna take this clamp off. I'm just gonna use some hose clamp pliers. Line those up. Squeeze and slide this off. And the clamp on the inside where the boot is, I'm just going to use a straight pick and just try to spread it. Just give it a tap. And I just broke it. That's what you're looking for. Get in there with the pick and just break it or slide it out. And you can grab the boot, give it a twist, and just pull it off. So you want to take some good locking pliers or pipe wrench pliers and get really close to the inner tie rod end. You don't want to mar up the shaft too close to where the teeth are. And then we'll take a large adjustable. If you have a 38mm socket or a 38mm wrench, you could try that, or even a 1.5-inch wrench. And loosen this up. They also make special tie rod tools that you could use as well. But it's just easy enough to use a wrench. And it comes right up. I just thread this in. Put your locking pliers on. If you can get a torque wrench on here, you want to torque that to 81 foot-pounds. If not, do the best you can. That's good. I'm going to take the boot. I can put a little grease on the boot. You can also put a little grease here where the boot's going to sit. And slide the boot on. And slide it over the steering rack. Make sure it goes all the way around. That looks good. If you have a new clamp or you have the special tool for this clamp, you can reuse it sometimes. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get in that area. And there's other types of clamps you can use as well. But you can also use a wire tie if you can't get any of those in that area. Just slide it in position. It's going to be in the same position where the clamp was. It's just to hold the boot on. That's all the way around. And just take your side cutters. Try to tighten it up as tight as you can get it. And see if you can twist the boot. Just tighten it up just a skosh more. That should be good. It's tight, and then trim the end. And take the clamp, slide it over the end, using the hose clamps, pliers, and that should be good. Looks good. Put the jam nut on. Now put this jam washer on. Make sure the taper part that opens up is going to be coming towards the outer tie rod. And put the outer tie rod on. And we want to count the threads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 22. That was 22. At the same location. Bring the jam nut closer. Now we're going to reposition the tie rod into the knuckle. Line this up. Get the nut started on top. Underneath the tie rod, I'm just going to take a pry bar, pry it up while I just snug up the nut. And we'll torque this nut to 59 foot-pounds. Now tighten up the jam nut. If you have the ability to torque this, you want to torque the nut to 37 foot-pounds. good. Put the wheel back on, line that up. Get the lug stud started. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. I'll just go around again, double check. After you're done this job, keep in mind you need to bring the vehicle to a local garage to have it aligned so you don't have premature tire wear.